And we're live. How every live hangout starts. Hello, anyone watching? I'm DM Sam, and these are the Bastards of Bentblight Hollow. It's a D&D 5th edition campaign run live on this channel, and this is session 1, actually. Session 0 was not broadcast. I'm just going to let the players introduce themselves and their characters. Starting from on my left, we have Michael introducing Ander.
How's it going? I'm Mike, aka Unmade Man, and I run the channel Unmade Gaming on Twitch. I am playing Ander. He is a half-elf, one of the Bastards of Bentblight Hollow. Ander is quick of tongue and quicker of hand. He can talk his way into and out of almost any building, just as easily as he could break in. And more often than not, he uses these abilities to save one, if not both, of his brother's asses when they get in the thick of things.
Which is fairly often.
I'll pass it over to Mike.
I'm Mike. I game as the Anonymous Rhinoceros. I help Mike with running his channel on Twitch. I'm playing Kellen. He is a human warlock, and he has a huge lust for knowledge and magic, mostly because he's not tough. I'll pass it over to Kyle.
All right, I'm Kyle Benavides. I'm working to get my webcam live as we speak. I'm going to be playing Lad, the half-orc, with my two brothers, obviously. And more or less, I am kind of the brawn of the group. I get myself in a fair bit of trouble. I fight down at the pits or anywhere that they let me fight. And more often than not, that leads to me accruing either debt or enemies that my brothers kind of help take care of.
Awesome. All right. Let's get this started then. I'd like to turn off my camera for this. You all see a man. His back is turned to you, facing a rising or a setting sun. You are not sure what time of day it is. He is standing amidst 3 poles. These poles cast long shadows as they're silhouetted against the sunlight. He does not have a shadow. However, you see these other shadows, these poles grow larger. They cloak, they cover everything, darkness enveloping everything. Until the sun is but a single, humble point of light. You are staring into that point of light now. You hear a voice calling out to you. Oi! Oi, get up! Get up! You are in a room. It is large, metallic, almost cylindrical as the walls curve into the ceiling. It's about 20 foot tall. The room is 30 foot wide, 60 feet long, and running down the center is a large metal catwalk suspended about 10 feet in the air. The voice comes from a man. He is next to you, as well as several other huddled prisoners who look scared and terrified. He is shaking your shoulders lightly. Get up! Quickly! We're coming to a stop.
Coming to a stop? What do you mean, coming to a stop?
There's a large rattling sound, like a ba-dum from beneath you, and that slowly slows to a ba-dum. And he says, "Wait, to be honest, I don't rightly know. Right, it's just another one of these stops. You're gonna come in here. Don't look them in the eye. Don't look sleepy. They don't like that either."
Am I the only one awake at this time, or are my other two brothers awake as well?
They are coming too.
Okay.
Speaking to all of you.
I'll kind of go over to Lad and I'll slap him on the face a little bit.
Ugh,
Time to get up.
What now?
Apparently we're coming to a stop.
We were moving?
I guess.
Ugh.
Guess it's as good as mine.
I kind of stretch out fully and give my brothers a ham-fisted slap on the back.
I did not wake up until I got slapped in the back, and I kind of sputter and wake up and push Lad off of me. And I look around in this I assume to be carriage or cart of some kind. What do these people look like that are in here?
They're scared. They're dressed from in all manners. Some look like they were poor beggars. Others look like merchants. But they all have a unifying look of terror and fear on their faces.
So I look around this cart and I make for whatever looks like the door, and I reach into my shirt and feel around trying to pull out my thieves' tools, and find out that they are completely missing. And then my hand goes to my belt where my rapier is, and that's also missing. And then I kind of look around in a sense of panic.
Seeing him padding around, I too will start to, look for certain things like, my arcane focus is a wand, various other items, and then I realize that my precious book, it has a large sentimental value, is also missing.
Hey, where's my stuff?
I don't rightly know. They took all of our things.
Even my hammer?
Aye, especially weapons. Or anything that could be considered a weapon.
Oh, no, they don't. Brothers, what's going on?
Well, I don't rightfully know.
We're all in the same cart, lad.
Well, yeah, but you usually know what's going on.
Not this time.
Well, when will you know what's going on?
And I kind of look over to Kellen, shrug. Soon, I hope.
Soon. Like in Spaceballs. When will then be now?
The man says to you, I don't think we'll know anything anytime soon. He said there's probably some new people coming. And he looks up and you see in the ceiling, at one end of this room, a hatch opens up and a ladder slides down and it collides with the ground. And you see three figures kind of shamble down. They're dressed in armor and they have these helmets that also have like visors that look like faces carved into these ugly, horrible visages, and each of them is has what looks like a sack, a person-shaped sack under one of their arms, which is considered very impressive because they are rather stumpy-looking men holding these bodies, and they just clamber down onto this catwalk. It's about 10 feet above you, and they just kind of toss the bodies down at their feet, leaving them wrapped up like that. And one of them kind of taps on the ladder and it slides up, and the hatch closes. One of them begins to walk down the catwalk, and he's holding in his hands a whip, and he stretches it tight, and he's just looking at everybody. And one of you, if anyone who wants to, can roll a perception check.
19.
14.
I'll leave that to my brothers. I'm still kind of angry.
With a 19, you recognize something that looks familiar to you and your brothers. You see a tiny brass orb. It's more of a ball, really, with strange runes in it. And you see the man who was talking to you before is just kind of holding it in his hands. and kind of rubbing it nervously as this figure kind of stomps over you guys, over this catwalk.
This guy is in here with us, the one that has the orb.
Yep.
So I see this orb, and I immediately reach out to snatch it from him. This is mine. How did you get this?
Hey, shh. And he kind of attempts to like keep it away from you.
And I'll lunge for him.
Alright. Alright, make a, I guess that would be, go ahead and do a sleight of hand check, because that is sort of a sleight of hand.
16 plus 5, so 21.
Alright, you, with great skill, move for it, but somehow this man, with strange dexterity, manages to kind of like flies up in the air and he like kind of falls onto his chest and rolls down and catches it and kind of falls over a bit with a natural 20. And you see the guard above you kind of comes to a halt, and he looks down at the four of you, you three and the man, and he says, "Oi, what's going on?"
That seems like a question you need to answer.
I don't answer questions, scum.
That's the nicest thing I've been called all week.
Do you want a lashing? He pulls the whip tighter, and you see the other two guards kind of getting a little nervous, and they're shifting, and they kind of start to move over as well. He's just standing there 10 feet above you.
As he starts to tighten this whip, I put my hand on Lad's shoulder, and I look at this guard and I say, "Oh no, there's nothing going on here. My brother just wakes up and he's very grumpy when he's woken from his nap. The sudden jostling sent him into a frenzy." I'm trying to persuade the guy.
All right, roll a persuasion check.
With a 17.
Ooh, nice. All right.
A 18.
He just goes, "We'll deal with you when we get to Kalthua."
I look to Andrew and I'm like, "Thanks, bro."
And then when this guy starts to turn his back, the guard, I look back at the man holding the orb, and in a very hushed tone, I say, "This is your last chance. That's mine." And I point to the orb.
Just says, "I've had this for weeks."
For weeks?
Yes, I found it. It saved my life.
Where did you find it?
It's just, yeah. I was in the Silver's Head, and all the chaos was erupting, and everyone was rushing to get out of the city. I was nearly trampled to death, but I found this, and I've just been keeping it with me as a good luck charm. I barely managed to get it past these bastards.
So I kind of look at him like very quizzically, and then I turn over to Kellen, and in even more hushed tones, is it possible there's two?
Very rare. Very unlikely.
So I look back to Lad, and I point to the man, and I point to the orb he's holding, and I say, "That's mine."
Yeah. So,
with that, I'd like to. Oh, sorry, Kyle. Go ahead.
No, I'll lumber up to my brother Andrew and look. What's yours?
That orb with the funny markings on it. That's mine.
Yeah. Looks familiar enough.
Take it.
Well, yeah. And so I'm gonna try and take said orb from the gentleman.
All right. Go ahead and roll me a strength check.
Strength.
Yeah.
That's a good roll. Let's see. 16 and 3 is 19.
All right. You just barely managed to wrestle this away. because for some reason I'm rolling like a fiend to this guy. And
Resilient little bugger.
you barely manage to wrestle this away. And he just says, "Oi!" And he kind of like halts, and like holds himself from going too loud to not disturb these guards. And he says, all right, you can have it."
Well, I have it already, and yeah. So I'll keep it firm in my hand, and I'm gonna hand it over to Ander. Here you go, bro.
Now, does this look like the trinket I have had for a while?
It looks identical, and you also did not lose it a couple weeks ago.
Now I got 2. So I look it over, making sure it's the same thing that I no longer have on me, because I'm pretty sure this guy's a dirty liar, and then I pocket it.
All right. You feel this room begin to shake a little bit again. You hear, and then you kind of feel yourselves kind of all lurch forward, and then it just kind of holds back to normal, and you hear the return. And you see the guards kind of position themselves, one at each exit and one in the middle of the walkway. He's just staring down at everyone, and anyone who makes any noise, he just cracks the whip into the air.
Now, how big was this room again?
This room is 60 foot long, 30 foot wide.
That's a big carriage.
Mm.
It's a big ceiling, kind of stretches around like that, except the floor is kind of flat.
Now, the guard said, I'll deal with you when we get to a certain place. I don't think I heard you correctly, but you did say a place.
Kelthura.
Now, would any of us know what that is?
Roll a history check.
Natural 20, but it's I have a -1 in history.
I rolled a natural 1.
All right. So, Lad,
Of all people.
your mind kind of flashes back to when you were fighting in the pits, and you remember this dwarf you were fighting, and he screamed at you. He said, "I'll send you to the depths of hell. No, I'll send you to Kelthuzar. That's worse."
We're gonna have fun here, brothers. I have it in good faith that a man of well repute in the pits really has this place in high esteem.
I kind of look it down at my feet and look back at like kind of nervously that he said the pits, and then with a smirk, I look back at Lad and you say, "You have no faith. We'll be fine."
Sure.
I don't need weapons or armor.
Nerd. And then I sit back down. I sit back down on the floor.
Sorry.
No, go for it. Go for it.
I was just gonna say, as you sit back down, you see a little boy. His name is Ellen. If you ask him, he's a little elf boy. And he just says, "Mister, do you know that?" And he kind of points to Lad, the big one.
He said, "Do you know the big one?"
Yeah,
And he's talking to which one of us?
he's talking to you.
Okay. And I look up at this kid because I'm sitting on the floor now, and I say, "I do. That's my brother."
You don't look like him.
I'll lean in at this point and say, don't you see the resemblance between us? And that's a natural 20 on deception. On top of being 25.
What were you trying to deceive him of?
Just because I could.
So he his eyes kind of widen like saucers, and he's like, "I see it now." he says to you, he says, "Are you guys gonna save us?"
No.
I kind of, kneel so that I'm eye level with this kid, and I say, well, I know for sure that I am gonna save. I'm gonna save me
And me if he can help it.
and him, and probably the big one.
Have I overheard any of this?
Probably, yeah. Unless they were trying to make it secret on purpose.
No.
So I'll look down, and I'll be like, "Do you have my hammer?"
To the child or to?
To the child.
No, but I think I know where they took it.
Well, if you can help me find my hammer, I'll try and save you. Otherwise, no.
They always take the stuff that way, and he points to the door behind you.
Mhm.
And he just says, "That's where they take. That's where they took our things."
How sturdy does that door look?
It is made of metal. It has like a valve turning thing.
Like a lever of some sort?
Yeah, basically, it's like a big lever that you just instead of like a knob.
All right.
And it's also 10 feet in the air because there's that big catwalk that goes 10 feet, and there's like the doors on either end of that catwalk.
Right.
And there's a staircase that leads from the bottom of the catwalk. From the bottom floor where you guys are up to that catwalk near the center of the room where the first guard is. And you also see one of the other guards. He's picking up these look like body bags, and he's carrying them down these steps, and kind of just putting them down and pulling off these basically these sacks, and it just looks like just random people that just look like passed out. A lot of them with like head injuries, and he's just like pulling the sacks off of them, kind of kicking them, checking if they're breathing, and then like going back up the steps, back to the other bodies, picking those up, carrying them down.
So all these guards look pretty preoccupied.
Yes, there's there's the one carrying the bodies, there's the one standing in the middle, and then there's the one standing by the door that was behind you that the kid pointed to.
Are any of them focused on the people down here?
The one in the center of the room he's looking around, basically.
Are there any more kids in this group?
There's a few kids. There's a little girl. There's a woman who looks to be the mother of both of these kids.
Mm-hmm.
There's also the man who had your orb. And there's like several other people, and they've kind of get huddled in a little bit away from you guys. Mostly elves and humans.
When these guards were bringing those bags in, were they coming from where it looked like our items would have been stored?
No, they were coming from a hatch at the top.
From a hatch at the very top, okay. So I guess I would huddle in a little bit closer to at least Onder and say, if you want, I could be the distraction.
So while we're huddled in here, I look over at Kellen and I say, my thoughts exactly. It's like, you distract, lad, hoist me up there, and I'll try to get in that room.
Well, all right.
And if things go bad, punch everyone.
That I can do.
All right, solid plan. Let's do this.
So I'll kind of slink over to like underneath the like wherever the door is on the catwalk. I'll slink like right below the catwalk in that spot.
Yep. Make a stealth check.
Yeah, 19 plus 7, so 26.
You notice that these guards actually have like these masks are pretty like they've got like holes in them
Yep.
for the eyes, but those kind of restrict vision, so they're not the best guards in the world.
Okay.
So you can pretty easily just shoot right past them through their blind spots, and you actually see the one by the door actually has one of his eyes actually covered up. He's just one eye exposed.
Okay. And then once I get over there, I kind of motion towards Lad.
So I'll trudge over.
All right. So you just over there.
Um,
At this point, I probably would have started my distraction, but you know, Vlad wants to go trudging.
I mean, so they didn't take my armor, did they?
They didn't take your armor. No, they didn't take what was directly on you, but they would have taken any items or anything that you would have had.
All right. So I mean, I'll trying to follow my brother's lead. I'll try and get over there as quietly as humanly possible at my size. I do have chainmail on, which does that grant disadvantage?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. So let's try.
These are not the most observant guards, as you can tell by their masks.
That is a 5.
With a 5, the one in the center of the room snaps his whip towards you, and you kind of feel it like just go right past your ear, and he just goes, "Boy, where are you going?
Stretch my legs.
Sit down."
So I'll get on my knees, and I'll continue to waddle over on my knees.
Stop moving! And he starts moving along the catwalk after you.
So I'll stop and I'll like sit on my hands for a minute and just try to let the heat die down.
At this point, I would probably start making a rattling noise at the other end of the cabin that we're in with thaumaturgy.
Awesome. So he just kind of goes, he looks over there, and the third guard who was kind of putting these bodies down kind of looks over towards the rattling sound, and he goes back up to the catwalk, and he looks at the other guard, and he says, "What? What?" And he just points to the thing. He's just stuttering over himself, and the guard just goes, "Go look for whatever's making that noise. If you can't find it, get Benjo in here. He might be an engine malfunction." Yep. And you see the third guard begins to move towards the rattling noise, and the second guard, who's in the center of the room with the deep voice, is kind of watching him. So you can make a second stealth roll if you want, because he's kind of distracted.
Yeah. Disadvantage power. Oh dear Lord. That's an 8.
With an 8, he turns around and he swings his whip at you, and let's see if he hits you. Oh, okay. He swings his whip at you, and he drops it, and it falls to the floor next to you, and he just goes, "Damn things."
I'll pick it up and hand it over to the old man that had the orb earlier.
He refuses to take it. He's just like, "No," and he begins to back away. And you see, as you pick it up, you see the guard in the center of the room pulls out a what looks like a very large hammer.
Yep.
And he just says, "Drop it."
I'll offer my arms outstretched like this. Oh, take it.
All right.
All I can see is a big half-orc. "Sorry, I took your ball."
So you hold this whip out to him. He's about 10 feet in the air. How tall are you?
I'm about a good 6'7".
All right. So with 6'7", you can like pretty much reach it up there, and he has to kind of bend down a little bit clumsily because he's in like heavy armor, and he just kind of snatches the whip away from you.
So is this guy? So he's on the catwalk, leaning over, right, towards Lad.
Yeah, he's about 30 feet away from you.
Screw it. So I'm gonna go ahead and
it's just him, right? Like he's holding on to it, and there's 2 other guards in the area.
Yeah, there's a guard above Ander, and a guard on the other side of the room, and there's the one in the center of the room who's taking the whip from.
So I'm gonna. So am I? There's one on the far side where the door is, and there's one in the center. You said where Lad is, so he's not over where I'm at.
I was trying to get over there.
Okay, then never mind.
Yeah, I'll just hand the whip back. I'm not gonna try any shenanigans.
Yeah, he pulls the whip back up, and he puts the hammer thing away, and he just kind of snaps it, and he says, "Don't ever try and pick up a weapon without permission again."
Well, I'm sorry for trying to be helpful.
I ought to lash you into 1,000 pieces.
You need more pieces from me, man.
Go sit down with the old man and the children. Half-breed.
And I'll laugh, and I'll just go and sit down with the old man, and keeping a cursory eye on him.
Yeah, you see the old man and the children all looking at you like, what the fuck are you guys doing? Total, like, more panic in their eyes than ever before. Just really terrified and scared.
What's the old man doing with his hands right now?
The old man, he's just, like, rubbing them anxiously together.
Yeah.
Like that, yeah.
Yeah, they start kind of sparking and arcing lightning.
he screams. And he falls prone basically, and the guard moves. Basically, he just goes, "I've had enough of this," and he just down the catwalk. His metal armor kind of moves.
I'll stand up. And I'll like raise my arms back, and I'll start falling back, like kind of as if I'm afraid. And I'm gonna try and retreat towards my brother.
All right, towards
Ander.
All right. Just give me because he's so distracted, because they're all pretty much distracted, go ahead and give me another stealth check to not be noticed. You don't have to be like necessarily, but like just be subtle enough not to.
Disadvantage ahoy. That's a 10.
10 is just enough. So you manage to get over there. You see the guard above you now, who is by the door where the little boy pointed to. That guard is looking very anxiously over towards the second guard in the center of the room, just marched down there. And he has picked the old man up, and he, in one hand, and he has just thrown him to the floor again. And then he pulls out his whip and just begins to just whack, 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 just lashing this old man. What are you doing, Kellen?
At this point, is there's still one guard outside the door that they're gonna try to sneak to?
Yes, there's the guard. There's the guard above. You also see the third guard is beginning to move back towards the middle guard, and he just says, couldn't find it. Get Jimbo. Get Jimbo."
Let's see the range, 60 feet. I would like to point to him and just say one word, grovel, as I cast command on him.
All right. Is that a save?
And that's a wisdom saving throw DC of 13.
All right. And which guard are you casting this on? On the stuttering one or the deep voice one?
The stuttering one that's closest to Ander and Lad.
The one by the door.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the one-eyed one. Let's go ahead.
Oh, that is one-eyed one.
All right. What's the effect if it fails?
If it fails, let me double check. I believe they become hostile.
All right. So you say this word, and his head just kind of twitches, and you hear "Arr!" from this metal, and he just pulls out his own whip, and he just looks at you with this one eye, and you can see it's like red with rage, and he says, "Oi! Looks like we got a magician!" And the one next to you that was beating the old man turns to look at the other guard, and the guard just points at you, and the guard next to you is going to attack you. Roll for initiative, guys.
Yay! Natural 20. Of course, on initiative.
16.
That is a 8. An 8.
16, 8, and Kellen, was yours a 20?
Natural 20.
All right.
So 22
Modifiers?
total.
All right. So, Kellen, you actually get to act first. You see this this guard next to you becomes hostile, and he turns to you with his whip, and it's just wet with the blood of this old man who's just lying there crying on the ground next to you. The mother has closed the eyes of the children. She's got her hands over their eyes, and this man is looks like he's gonna whip the hell out of you. What do you do?
Is he at 5 feet?
Yeah, he's right next to you.
Are there people around him, say in a 15-foot cone?
Yeah, but you could probably, if you angled it up, you wouldn't hit anybody other than him.
Okay, I would like to do that with burning hands. So that would be a dexterity saving throw.
Cool. Sorry, I'm trying out using sticky notes for initiative, and I'm just getting this all sorted out.
Dude, no worries.
All right. Dexterity saving throw. What's the DC?
DC is 13.
All right, they fail. Or keep
They fail. Oh. All right. 14 fire damage.
All right. What does that look like?
Essentially, what I'm doing is he's getting on me pretty quick. I was gonna try to, decept him and say, no, it's the old man that you're just whipping. Clearly, he's a magician. He had lightning come out of his hands. Realizing it's a little bit too late, I just almost as a reaction, just spread my hands with fire just spewing out in a cone that's also going up towards the catwalk.
All right. Yeah, you just blast him right in the face, and he screams with rage and actually drops his whip. And you see one of the little boys kind of peeks out from behind his mother's eyes. He goes, "Wow!" As this flame just shoots into the air. Now we are up to Ander, actually.
So now that Lad is up to where I am, I'm basically going to climb him up onto the catwalk.
No
Up onto the catwalk.
I'm not even going to make you roll for that because that's awesome.
So I should be behind the one-eyed guard, I think, right?
Yeah.
As he passes by, I'm like, alley-oop.
You can make a stealth check to not be seen by the guard if you want.
17.
A 17 is enough, so you can. This guy doesn't see you as you climb up behind him.
So now, what does this door look like?
This door is it's big, it's metal, and it's got this big metal lever that looks like you grab it and you pull like that.
So I grab the lever and pull.
All right, it makes a loud noise.
So as soon as I crank it back to one side, I assume that guard spins around on his heels and looks at me.
Yeah.
At which point I shrug and go, "Hey, lad, little help." And that's my turn.
Awesome. Okay. Now we are up to him actually. So you see, he pulls out this large hammer, and it looks like a hammer, but it has a spike on the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then behind it, he presses something on the hammer, and this fire ignites out one end of the hammer, and he just swings it at you.
Oh my God.
I want that hammer.
And let's see. Oh crap! What's the attack bonus? No. I have it here. 14 misses your AC, right?
It does.
All right. So this thing just arcs past you. You just see this flame just kind of right past your nose.
Nice.
As this guy just kind of spins around. And you do catch what looks like a hint of a glowing, fiery gem right in the center of this thing from which this fire is shooting out.
Okay.
And that brings us up to the guy who just got burning hands right in the face. So he clambers back, and you see he pulls his helmet off, and you see this now quite burnt and ash-covered face. He's got this white hair, and his beard, which was like bright white as well, is now just burning to a crisp, and you see his skin is like purple. And I should mention, I believe I mentioned they were stumpy. These guys are like 5'5". So he pulls out his hammer, and you see as he's like falling backwards and pulling out this hammer, he begins to grow, and he begins to tower over you about 8'5", and he's going to swing at you, Kellyan. And he's going to miss terribly.
That's
so
right,
you can go ahead and describe how you nimbly dodge out of the way as this hammer just right onto the floor.
Seeing the white beard, just see him going up like this. My guy's not too heroic or courageous, so he's just backing away, and he's actually quite dexterous though, and so he just almost like he's fucking with him. He just whoop, just dodging it.
All right. Now we are up to Lad. You see this one take a swing at your brother. You also see this other one about 30 foot behind you is now growing. He's towering high above his head, just a few feet from the ceiling, and he just brings this giant hammer down. And you see the other one with his basically rocket propelled hammer. What do you do, Lad?
So Ander had asked for my help above, right?
Yes.
Do I have any way of grasping up there, or
you could probably easily jump and grab on and pull yourself up. It costs about half your movement.
Okay. So there's the one that's attacking Ander. There's one that is in front and attacking Kellyn. And then there was the third one that's in the pits with us, right? In the carriage.
The third one there's the one that's in the bottom layer who's engaged with Callan. The third one is towards the back. He's about 50 feet from you. He's on the catwalk, and he's just kind of halted and kind of stuttered as all this violence suddenly erupts. And you see him also reaching for a hammer.
So Lad thinks back to the last time he had to make a decision between his two brothers. It was over who had the last piece of pie, and he distinctly remembers Ander swiping it out from under him. And he kind of grunts and charges forward to go aid Kellyn.
All right.
Can I make a? I guess I'll run up and just try and ham fist the large grown gentleman.
Yeah, you can run up and punch him. There's also a semi-burnt whip on the floor as well. But yeah, go ahead and roll an attack roll.
All right. That is 21.
21 is an easy hit.
Alrighty. And unarmed, correct me if I'm wrong, 1d4 plus strength?
Yes. You're a fighter, right?
Yeah.
Typically a fist is just a point of bludgeoning damage plus your strength modifier, unless you have tavern brawler or martial arts or something like that.
I do not.
Yeah. So it's just 1 point of bludgeoning damage plus your
Plus my
strength
strength.
modifier.
So that would be 4 damage overall.
All right. Yeah. You. How do you punch this guy? He's like towering over you. Where do you go? Where do you go?
So he's like 8.5 feet.
Yeah.
All right. So I'll kind of like growl and I'll charge forward towards Kellen, and as I'm moving by, I'll kind of like tap him on the shoulder, rear back, and I'm just gonna punch him right in the solar plexus because that's around the same spot, right? That's about where I can extend.
Yeah.
He's like 8.5. Yeah, I'm just gonna rear up and just smack him in the solar plexus, trying to knock the wind out of him.
All right. Yeah. You hit him, and he just you see his face is just covered in all these burns and singed hair.
How about you pick on someone a little bit taller?
Awesome. Pick on someone your own size. All right, and now we are up to the third guy who I'm calling Skip. And Skip kind of goes, "What? No. Oh, bad. And he pulls his hammer out, and he's going to rush towards this half-orc and kind of jumps off of this catwalk. But as he does, he also swells in size. So his foot just kind of grows to connect with the floor. So it's almost like stepping off of a tiny ledge to him. And he brings his hammer down towards you. And what's your AC?
19. No, yeah, I have my armor on, right? Yeah, 19.
Yeah, okay. So he just hits you with a 19. Let's see, what is that? That is this much damage plus that much damage. So you take 11 points of bludgeoning damage. This hammer hits into you. All right. And he hits you with this hammer, probably knocks you back a couple feet. And he says, get away. And now we are up to Kellen.
As a free action, I would like to tell Lad that I actually ate his last piece of pie.
You're just aware that was what he was thinking.
Lad is a very binary type person.
Lad's a simple man. He likes shinies, pie, and his hammer.
Those are his two favorite loves.
those are his two favorite loves: shinies, pie, and his hammer.
Yep. So having my brother come to my aid is super helpful, of course. But I don't like being at the front of the line, so I'm going to use 10 feet of my movement to move 10 feet away, and I'm going to cast Ray of Frost on the burned guard that I first hit.
Awesome. They're gonna hit you with opportunity attacks.
Okay.
All right. So the first one is 14 to hit you.
I have 15 AC.
All right, and the next one. So they both bring their hammers down, and you just kind of manage to skirt out of the way.
Okay.
All right. Roll your attack roll for the Ray of Frost then.
17 plus 5, so 23. 22.
It is a just miss. No. You hit.
Hit, that is 1d8. So that's 4 cold damage, and his movement speed is reduced by 10.
It's not actually, because you just kill him.
Oh, I mean,
with exact damage. So describe what the Ray of Frost looks like.
So essentially, I felt like it was a little bit too hot with the burning hands, so I give him a quencher, and I hit him in the face again, and it just icicles of blood are just like on his face as he falls backwards.
You would not believe what I named this guy before the session started. His name is Durloom Beardless. So you burn away his beard, perfectly in fitting with the character, and then this frost just envelops his face, and he just you see like the chills of the little bits of frost kind of forming on his eye, on these white eyebrows of his, and he just kind of and falls to the ground, crushing the old man who had just been flogged.
I'm sure he's earned it.
Oh, what a shame.
We are up to Ander. Ander, you have this dwarf in front of you with a rocket-propelled hammer.
So the door behind me, or the door in front of me, I guess, is it open?
You open the thing, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you can push it to open now.
Okay. So I'm going to, as a bonus action, disengage with my cunning action.
All right.
And I'm going to slip into this door and then close it and then look what's inside this room.
All right. As you push it open, you're greeted with a gust of wind, like lots of air rushing rapidly into your face.
Okay.
As this door does give quite a bit of resistance, but you managed to push it open, no problem. I want to make you roll for that. But you push out and you see just darkness. Like you have dark vision, I believe,
yes.
for being half elf, but you can't see much in this darkness. There's in front of you there is another. What looks like another room. There's another doorway with like a wall that kind of goes in the same way that the one you were in before does. And beneath you can see that you're on a bridge and there's like just fire beneath these rooms just trailing. There's a tiny gap between the two different essentially cabins. It's a train. It's a train. Between these train cars. I was trying to allude to it, but yeah, it's a train.
I'm supposed to be the dumb one, guys.
I was trying to describe it vaguely because your characters wouldn't know what this is.
Yeah, what a train is, yeah. So I'm going to close the door. Actually, I'm going to look at the guy, the big guy with the hammer, say, hey, then close the door, and then as my regular action, I'm going to try to make an acrobatics check to climb on top of the train car.
Awesome.
Because Indiana Jones. +5 to acrobatics, and I rolled a 3. So 8 to climb on top of train car.
All right. You managed to climb part of the way up, but you kind of slept on a piece of on like a divot in the metal that you were using as a foothold, and you kind of slip on it, and so you don't actually make it all the way up. If that's your turn, then we are up to the guy that you left behind. So as you your foot slips. In very dramatic, there's like the dum ba-dum 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 of this train, and the door is open, and you see this figure kind of come out of the doorway, and he looks around, and he looks up at you, and he begins to grow. So it's almost like you're climbing up this thing, and you just see this shadow just go up, and you look around over your shoulder, and you just see this face just staring directly at you. And he's going to attempt to basically, he's just going to attempt to hit you with his hammer, I guess. And that is a 22 to hit you.
That sure does hit.
All right, so you take, let's see here. So you take 10 points of bludgeoning damage and 4 points of fire damage.
Okay.
As this rocket-propelled hammer, which is now also grown in size, slams into your back. And that means that we are now up to the dead guy, who is now out of the order. We are up to Lad.
Yeah. All right, so there's one that's dead on top of the old man.
Yeah, and there's the one who's kind of skips in the sentences.
Yeah. All right, the one who smacked me in the back. So I guess I'll kind of rear back from his strike. I'll square up on him, and then I'll just kind of rush in like a bull and try and smack him around. I believe I can use combat maneuvers even with unarmed, right?
Sure.
Nifty. Let me see. So what I'm going to try and do is
I should also mention the hammer that the other guy was wielding has now dropped and shrunk back to normal size.
Oh, so there's a hammer on the ground.
Yes.
Well, is it within reach, easy reach, where it would just take a normal mind action to pick up?
Yeah, it would be a free action to just grab it.
Okay, so yeah, I'll grab it, and it's what kind of hammer is it? What kind of hammer do I have? Just on like first glance, is it like a war hammer?
It is, yeah, it's basically a warhammer.
All right, cool. I already have the stats for that down, so it's a little easier. So yeah, I'll heft it in both hands, and I'm just gonna run up and try and just smash the guy from the side, trying to get him in the midsection, trying to push him around a little bit.
Right.
And I'm gonna be using goading attack on this one to try and keep him focused on me and solely me. So I'll kind of yell out, "Did I stutter?"
Oh, that's mean.
All right.
That is a 20 to hit.
All right. That'll hit.
Perfect. All right. So I roll my superiority die with a d10 and a d8.
You thought the bastard title was because of our lineage.
So that's going to be 11 damage total, and he gets disadvantage when he attacks anyone who's not me on until my next turn.
All right. Yeah. So you say, "Did I stutter?" And he goes, "No." And he swings right at you. 14 misses you. So he just hits the floor. Yeah. And that's just going to be his turn. So we're up to Kellen again.
Okay.
Kellen, you've just seen this other one just barge through the doorway after your brother Ander,
Mm-hmm.
and this other one is engaged with Lad.
Okay. How far away is the one that's engaged with Lad? He's fairly close, right?
Yeah, you said you moved about 10 feet
10
away,
feet.
so you'd be about 10 feet away.
Oh, okay. So yeah, that's the guy who came right next to us. Okay. I am going to help my brother out because I feel bad about eating his piece of pie, and I'm going to just almost knife-handing it, which is just very stiff-handed, point at him and have lightning, black-colored lightning, shoot out of my hand and arc towards him, casting Eldritch Blast.
All right, roll your attack roll.
That's a natural 20.
All right. So how I do crits is you max damage on the first die, and then you roll it like a normal attack, and you just add those together. So you'll do an Eldritch Blast.
That's a D10.
Yeah. So you do 10 plus whatever you roll.
Plus, so that's 12, and then I have the.
Oh, you add your charisma modifier because.
I can add my charisma modifier. I took that as one of my invocations.
All right.
That would be 15 damage.
Wow, you guys are killing these guys with exact damage. That's 15 for 15. Describe how this guy. You take out a second one. You. So how do you?
Okay. So so even though it's lightning, it kind of shocks him a little bit, and it's force damage. So it actually pushes him ever so slightly over the edge a little bit, and then he trips down and just slams hard. It's almost like something just pushed him down the whole way, and it slams him to death.
Yeah, he just. When you see the metal helmet kind of comes clattering off, and you just see this face of a fairly young looking. They're very dwarf-like in appearance. You guys know what these are. Your characters don't. And it looks very young, and he's got like a big scar on his head from where he was hit. When he was younger, you could probably figure it out, and you've just smacked him in the exact same place. And he's just, and his eyes just roll to the back of his head, and his breathing stops. Now we're back to Ander. Ander, you've just been hit in the back with this hammer thing, and this giant dwarf is just
So,
staring at you.
so this giant dwarf is essentially in between these two train cars with me. So I
Yeah.
let go of the roof that I'm holding onto, drop down, and then with my disengage, I run back inside, slam the door, and crank the lever back over, and then turn to see the decimation my brother's left and go, "Whoo, that was a big one. Got that one." And then I just kind of stroll off the catwalk.
Awesome. This initiative order works pretty well because as you begin to stroll away, you just hear a boom, and this door rattles and it dents a little bit. Let's see, how much does this do?
And then I just keep walking and just sort of whistle, like I didn't notice it.
All right, and all right. So you just hear boom, and there's a big dent. We're up to Lad now. Lad, both of these dwarves have just fallen to the ground, and they're actually shrinking now. And there's basically all the old man is dead by now, and there's the woman holding the eyes of her children, and there's a few other prisoners who are just kind of looking. They've kind of backed up against the walls, and they're just looking at you guys like, "Are you guys gonna save us or kill us?"
So I'll completely disregard them, and I'm gonna climb up the catwalk, and I'm gonna pat Andrew on the back as I pass by, and just keep my hammer hefted. I'm gonna watch guard on the door, and if he somehow manages to get through, I'm gonna try and bash him in.
All right, we're up to Kellen now. Kellen, you just hear this on the door.
Is there anything that I can see of note that would be worth picking up from the ground what these dwarves might have dropped?
The dwarves, they're wearing scale mail,
Okay.
and they have shields and these warhammers, as well as whips. One of them looks badly burnt. And what else do they have? They have those strange masks that are very badly damaged now, and
Oops.
they would have a mark of rank, probably a ring on the one that had the deep voice that you
I fire a nice
turned the face off of.
I would go up to him and, if possible, I'd like to take the ring and pick up a whip.
No problem. Yeah, you pick up the whip, the less damaged whip that belonged to the stuttering one, and you pick up the ring. The ring is it's like solid black with like a white band running through it, and some sort of a crest on it that looks like a bull's head. And you can make a history check if you want.
I would love to. That's a natural one, so.
You think that this belonged to like some ancient elvish king.
Okay.
And you're like, what the hell is this doing on a Duergar? All right. Now we're up to Anders' turn. Ander, you're just walking away from this doorway, not doing anything.
Just kind of whistling and just strutting along, like I can't hear the banging noise. And I look back and I say, "Weapons aren't out there, but that's outside."
As you say, weapons aren't out there. That's outside. The door comes flying off, and you see this large, like basically like a pair of legs, begins to shrink down. And Lad, I believe you said you readied an attack.
Yes.
You can go ahead and take that.
So as he comes through, I was kind of having it almost like a batter would, and I'm just gonna try and push him back out the door with a big old smack, and that is probably not 4 and 5, 9 to hit.
Yeah, he just basically you like swing, but he like shrinks a foot shorter than you thought he would, and your hammer just goes right over his head.
Tricky little bugger.
And he kind of twists the handle of this thing, and the fire ignites on it again, and he spins it around. And let's see, does this hit you? No, he misses you terribly. So yeah, he just kind of spins around like a top a little bit because of this the speed of this hammer, and we are up to Kellyan. Kellyan.
So, sorry, what was it, Kyle?
No, I was just gonna let him know you'd be alright in the pits.
So this guy, he had come through the door, correct? Just to make sure I was writing down my whip stats and
Yes.
missed that part. Okay. Seeing him come through, I would assume I would have line of sight on him for an attack with the spell.
Yes, you could probably hit him pretty easily if you positioned yourself.
Okay. If I have to position myself, it would be to, I guess, to the side a little bit, or it would be within my movement. Okay, so I would do whichever direction that would be, and I'll go for the Dr. Knife Hand again, and try to hit him with Eldritch Blast.
Roll a hit.
So that's 11 plus 5, 16.
16 is just enough to hit.
Oh, sweet. That is a D10. 5 force damage.
All right, yeah. How does the Eldritch Blast look?
So, Dr. Knife, it leaves my hand making an arc. It looks like black lightning, and when it hits the target, it if you're close enough, it sounds like it makes a thud because it's force damage, and it's like a lightning fist hits them.
Awesome. Yeah, you kind of dent in the part of his mask without an eye, and it's right in there. He stutters back like a few inches. Now we're up to Ander. Ander, you've just seen this door go flying over your head, and your brothers are fighting this guy in the doorway. And I don't know if I made it clear, but when you opened that doorway, there was another train car.
There were not our weapons, though. I expected it to be a room, and I was clearly mistaken because it was the outside. Yeah. So I will. So I'll slip back over by Lad, and I'll look at him and be like, "Oh, there's another one." And I will. I'll try to melee attack this guy. Let's see what happens. 17 plus -1, I guess, because it's strength, so 16.
16 is just enough to hit.
Okay, and I do 1 damage because I have a -1 strength. So.
All right.
So I just kind of punch this guy.
Yeah. He gets like smacked by this Eldritch Blast, and you kind of punch him in the shoulder, and he goes, ugh.
Like it's more of like an annoyance. Like I'm not really confident in how to punch a guy.
Like you get the sense that the only reason you hit him was because he just got blasted by this Eldritch Blast in the face.
Yep.
And as you punch him, he goes, ugh, and he swings at you. Does a 16 hit your AC?
Me?
Yes.
Yes, it does.
All right. I have your ACs written down. I'm just so in the habit of asking players what their ACs are.
Yeah, 16 is my AC, so time
to
the attack.
All right, let's roll these damages. So you take 9 points, 6 points of bludgeoning, and 3 points of fire as this flaming hammer, bam, right into you.
Okay.
All right, and that brings us to Lad.
So I'll look over my shoulder at my brother Ander and kind of just laugh at him, like openly. If we had a sister, I could have sworn her name would be Ander. And jokes are never my strong point, gentlemen. And I'm just gonna bring the hammer up and just try and overhand it, because now the guy's at a lower vantage point where I can try and hit him like a mole. That's a natural 20.
All right. So max the damage
plus
and then
more.
roll like normal.
So 10 is max damage, and do I have my strength modifier on the max? I imagine, yeah.
You add the strength modifier only once.
Okay, only on the second one then.
Yeah.
So max weapon damage is D10, and then plus 6, 7, 9. So 19.
19. Oh, he's so close to death. You take out this guy's knees. like he's just on the ground. He's like 3 feet tall now. Awesome. We're up to Kellen. Kellen, you see this dwarf literally not even on his last leg, just like gonna die any second now.
Kellen.
So it's been working so great for him. Kellen's kind of getting a little bit cocky, and he does it again. He just does the knife hand again, like lightning leaving his hands. 15 plus 5, so a modified 20 to hit.
You hit.
That's an max damage. That's a 10 plus 13 damage.
So, describe how you coup de grace the third time. The first thing down.
So the lightning leaves my hand again, and this time I plow him in the throat, and you just see his head snap forward and possibly hear a crack because of the force of this. And he just he's still stuck like that on his knees, leaning with his head forward.
Yeah. And you see the people in the room are just kind of like they kind of begin to depart from their huddles a little bit, and they're just like looking at the three of you, who are just probably, some of you are probably covered in a little bit of blood.
I look at them and I wink and just kind of go.
Do they flinch?
I did all the work too. And I'll poke Kellen on the shoulder. Don't do that again.
Oh, it was all you, big buddy. It's all you. And I hit him on the shoulder back. Just like Limpricid kind of slap.
Right. So I'll go about the cabin, collecting the hammers and putting the ones I'm not using into a pile, basically in the center.
All right. So there's the three. There's the one you were using. There's the one that belonged to Skippy, and there's the third one which belonged to the one-eyed guy, which does a D4 of fire damage on top of it. It's not a magic weapon though.
But can I make that swap?
Can you make? What do you mean swap?
So like, can I swap the normal one I have for the rocket hammer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can definitely take the rocket hammer. Basically, you probably know just from watching it, you just twist the handle and basically this fire kind of ignites onto the crystal.
Dr. Nightcan and Miss Rocket Hammer. How about not?
So you're doing all this, and you kind of feel the train beginning to shake a little bit.
Now what do we do?
And the civilians kind of look to you guys, and they just say, "What do we do?"
Well, you can start by filing out.
Filing out where?
Well, if I were the one leading this carriage, I'd tell you. But you can get off our carriage.
Shoot, we just lost him.
Did we lose Mike?
Yes, we did. We lost him. He'll be back in a second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just kind of look at you. They're still quite terrified, and the little boy says, "Wow! You guys are awesome!" And he just looks at the warlock, and he's just like, and he just starts doing the thing. Like,
I look at him and I say,
"How do
remember."
you do that? And it just starts going, and his mom's like, "No, don't do that, don't do that." Okay.
I turn to him and I say, only pussies eat vegetables. And I walk away.
I'll walk up to the boy and I'll show him some of the brain matter and blood on the hammer. Pretty cool, right?
His mom just like covers his face. He's like, "Oh, Mom, I want to see." And she just starts pulling him away, and she just goes, stop that right now."
Well, there's a dead man on the floor in front of you. Like,
Don't need to
Okay.
shove it in front of his face. He's just a little boy.
He's gonna see it eventually. That's all I'm saying.
Several of the men have rushed over to the large dwarf that has started to shrink, and they're trying to pull him off of the old man who had your brass.
Oh, that's right.
They're like, Zachary, Zachary, okay.
Oh, I forgot about him.
So as these people are pulling off the dwarf body, I kind of look down over the edge, and I say, "Bad things happen to people who steal." And then I open the lever, and I open the door again.
Says the rogue. You open the door and you're greeted with a gust of wind, and you see this other, train car basically in front of you. There is also a ladder going up the side of it.
Is there another lever on the other train car door?
Yeah, you could probably push it open. It's like a large wheel thing.
Okay.
There's one on the door behind you, but you can tell that basically the lever thing served as a lock, which is why the other guy knocked the door down instead of just opening it.
Makes sense. So I will attempt to open that other door.
All right. Yeah, you easily manage to kind of and you push it in. And what you see is something very similar. There's a large catwalk going down the thing, and you just see boxes of stuff, just everything from fruit and cloths from bits and baubles, furniture to weapons, just all throughout this large thing. And you see a staircase that leads down, and they're kind of arranged in these large, kind of like, almost like library-like way of just stacks of crates, like in a warehouse, but inside of a train car.
So I'll look back at Lad, who I assume is still standing pretty much in the door, and I'll look at him and say, "Lad, shinies," and then I'm just gonna jump across to the other train cart.
And I'll like lumber over, kind of hammer, so kind of thrown over the shoulder, and look down at all the boxes, crates, and I'll be like,
All right. What next?
All right. So do you guys begin searching the boxes, basically?
Yes.
yeah,
Yep.
I'll start bashing them open with the hammer if need be.
Awesome. Anyone who wants to can roll either perception or investigation.
Ooh, investigation.
So
9 for investigation.
21 on perception.
All right. With a 21,
17.
with a 21, you easily find, Ander easily finds. I'm still getting your names right. Ander easily finds basically a box full of what looks like your guys' equipment. You also find another brass orb etched with tons of tiny runes.
Yeah. Yeah.
At least Ander finds it. He can hide if he wants.
So where is Kellen? You still down there in the?
I was making my way up there.
Okay.
I rolled a really bad investigation, so.
So I'll pull out this brass orb and I'll look back and see Lad and Kellen and I'll hold them both up and go, "There are two."
Well, it's the principle of the thing that matters. At the time, he was guilty.
As you,
The first one was mine. This is a.
I kind of like hand waving, like, "Oh, I killed him anyway. It's all right."
As you pull these two orbs closer together, they begin to vibrate, and you see a flash of the vision that you had previously of the three poles and the man. And then it's gone immediately, and you're not sure if you just imagined that or not. And the orbs are still again.
Okay.
So have you found
all
my
of our
stuff
gear?
yet?
Yeah,
Oh.
that's why I kind of like tip a box over and the lid pops off and all of our gear spills out of it.
Yeah. And also with a 21 perception, you would also hear this. You hear a tiny voice just say, "No, no, 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 no! You're messing it up. I just got it right." And you see a tiny figure standing on one of these piles of the boxes, kind of in between two large crates, and he's just looking down at you, and he's got like a pair of glasses on, and he's looks like the other guys, but like like dark purple skin, long white beard, kind of goes down to his feet, filled with knots. You also see a similar ring that the deep-voiced dwarf had on his finger, and he's got a strange, like black and white garments with like a bull's head emblem, and he says, "What are you doing here?"
Requisitions.
So when he asks what we're doing here, I'll kind of look back at Lad with a giant fire hammer over his shoulder, and I'll look at this guy and be like, we're from the rear detachment. We were sent here because our fire hammer malfunctioned. We were told to get a new one, and I will attempt to roll deception.
All right, roll deception.
Can I assist him because I'm trained in deception? But the way I assist him,
how do you assist him?
I want to use Mage Hand to pull the glasses off of his face, so it's harder for him to see us.
All right.
And I'll just kind of stare there blankly, like, what's going on?
All right, roll a deception check with advantage.
All right, so the first roll is a total of 19, and the second roll is way worse. So 19 on deception.
Right. No, he just basically the glasses come off, and he goes, "Oh dear!" And he pushes them back on, and he says, "Well, what are you doing here? This is not where you come when a fire hammer malfunctions. And they're not called fire hammers."
We're new.
That's my name for them. Sorry, they like to dumb things down sometimes.
Well, I'm at least very happy that there's some friendly folk here. For a second, I thought that you were all trespassers.
Yeah, that would be
Of course
bad.
not.
That would be
Of course
really
not.
bad. Yes, yes.
You see him begin to climb down these crates, and he just says, "Well, I suppose there's probably a few fire hammers laying around here somewhere. I haven't got the organizational system quite right yet."
Well, I believe in you.
Oh boy.
And I'll give a big smile.
Just a big, dumb, toothy grin. So I'll look at this little man, and as he says he hasn't got the organization down right, I kind of motion towards Kellen, and I'm like, "Oh, our friend here is very astute. Maybe he can help you.
Yes.
What's the organization scheme you got here? Where are the most valuable things?"
It says, "Oh, I don't rank them in order of value. I rank them on utility, purpose, use. So what the things that are to be melted down, the things that can be repurposed."
So on a scale
What are the
of
most valuable
rock,
things?
If there was something you'd use to blow up, I mean,
If we didn't want somebody to blow up the train, where would we protect that stuff? So they can't do that.
It says, "Well, there's some particularly nasty explosives right over this way."
Over
Kind
this
of
way.
leads you through this maze of boxes. Oh god. This is alright. He leads you through these maze of boxes, and he actually shows you there are these very strange looking liquids. And he also he finally manages to get his glasses back, and he looks at each of you and he just says, "You all do. You're very," and he looks at your wounds, "very healthy."
yeah. Do you happen to have any potions of any sort? We got in a tussle with some of the prisoners.
Yes, I'm not supposed to give them out.
I understand if that's how it is.
Oh, but we're fast friends, you know. You can go ahead and give us a couple. We won't say anything, of course.
Roll persuasion.
Oh. 19. 16 plus 3.
Alright. So he just kind of says, "Well, you are looking particularly bad. and he also sees the. Are you wearing the ring that you took from the
I am.
decoy store? He sees that and he says, "And you are a high-ranking member of our organization, so I guess I can make an exception this once. Don't tell anybody, especially the captain.
I'll whisper.
Not Captain.
Good man.
He's had it out for me from day one, I'm telling you.
Oh, believe me, we're on your side.
I appreciate that. You have some allies here. Strange, you aren't normal-looking, Duergar.
I have a.
That's why we need these potions.
I had a growth spurt.
Yes.
They called me beardless.
He leads you to. Do you guys take any of the explosives?
Yeah, I would
Yes.
take some if
Do you
possible.
do that stealthily, or you do that?
Yeah, I'll give you a slight. You want a stealth hand roll or a stealth roll?
Sleight of hand or stealth, either one.
So a 14 stealth.
All right. Well, he's not suspicious of you, so I'm not gonna have him roll. You beat his passive perception. How many of these are you trying to take?
Like, how big are they?
They're like these. They're like large. They look kind of like classic cartoony bombs. Like they're just like these large, gray things, and you can peer inside and you see like this. There's like a hole, and there's like a glowing red object in there that gives off a similar light as the fire hammer does.
So I'll take 2, and then kind of like stuff them in my bag when no one's paying attention.
All right. No problem. So he leads you over and he pulls out some potions of healing, and he kind of hands out a couple to you, and he says, "I can't give you too many, or else, things in the books will look a little too suspicious. I can only fudge the record so much." And you guys can go ahead and add 4 potions of healing to your inventory, distributed however you see fit among the 3 of you.
So I'm gonna pop the top and drink one right away, and then we can all have one.
Okay.
Fair.
So,
All right, it's 2d4 plus 2.
So that's sweet. So 7 plus 2 is 9.
Gentlemen, now that I helped you, I was hoping you could help me.
Oh, of course.
oh, yes.
Whatever you need, little man.
Yes, there's a certain object which I need taken into Kalthuzar, and I would really like it not to come to the captain's attention. Hang on a second. Sorry. He kind of reaches behind him and he pulls out a strange-looking knife, and it's twisted and it's got strange runes on it. And he holds it out to the 3 of you, and he just says, "I need you to take this to Durka in Kalthuzar. You can find him there. You just need to ask the right people." He winks.
Right. As I take it.
I'll pay you quite a bit if you can promise me that this won't go under the captain's attention. I think I can trust you guys.
You absolutely can, as I kind of thumb the ring a little bit.
Our little secret.
Yeah, what they said.
Between pals.
Our little secret.
Fast pals.
So
you
I took that.
then see a few figures kind of merge through the doorway, and it's some of the prisoners from the other room, and they kind of poke their heads in, and the Duergar in front of you kind of notices them, and he says, "Oi, who are you?"
I'll turn around with my hammer menacingly and raise it, and be like, "Get back in the pit."
All right, roll an intimidation check.
I actually have charisma, which is like surprising. Let's see. 14.
All right, so they kind of begin to back away. They see you and they're like, "Oh shit, that's that. It's to do with Firehammer." And they kind of close the door behind them, and the dwarf looks at each of you and he says, "That's strange. There's nobody watching the slaves."
So remember how I said it wasn't too smart? That was me. I'll go back, and I'll open the door if nothing really stops me, and I'll make my way through.
All right. So you're heading back to where you were.
Yeah, I'm at least gonna stand on the other side of the door. I'm not gonna go back into the room, but I'm gonna make it seem like I was.
All right. So you're just leaving the car.
Just leaving the car. Yep.
All right. So you kind of step through and you see the there's about 6 of these guys who bothered to venture out of the car, and they're each staring at you, and they're just like,
I'll whisper and I'll put a finger on my mouth. Just kidding, Dad. But seriously, don't go this way. Or really, anyway, actually go back into the carriage like I said.
Yeah, and they just kind of go, are you gonna get us out of here?
Yes.
Do I need to have you roll deception? I don't think I need to. I think they're just going to like, they don't believe you, but they kind of give you this look of like, and they're just kind of more scared of you than anything. So they just kind of back over the gap, and you can see beneath. You see the fire running beneath beneath these cars, and you see below. You can now see there's actually other bridges, which is what this thing is on. It's on a big bridge, kind of seemingly through just total darkness, and you see other bridges kind of crisscrossing below and above.
Huh. Well, that's new. Well, back into the carriage with you, and I'll close the door and just kind of patiently wait outside until my brothers come back out.
All right. So the other 2 are in there with the I actually didn't come up with a name for him. I think that's bad.
Short-sighted Dwergar.
Yeah, with the short-sighted Duergar. His name is now Jamas. You're in there with Jamas, and he's looking kind of expectantly at each of you, and he says, "Well, don't you have places to be?"
Right.
When he says that, I kind of like pat myself down. I'm like, oh, I can't seem to find my timepiece. When are we due in Kel'Thuzar?
Should be. And he kind of pulls out a tiny contraption, and it looks really strange and foreign to you. It's not like a clock. It's like several pieces of strange metal that are kind of whirling about in the bowl. He says, shouldn't be too long now. You can go ask the captain up at the front if you like.
So I'm gonna say we're gonna leave the fourth guy in the back there to watch these prisoners, and the 3 of us we're gonna head to the front. We should report in anyway, and I'm gonna go back to the door and grab Lad.
It was a 4th.
Oh yeah, of course there was a 4th.
Of course.
Oh, you think we would just leave the prisoners there by themselves?
Well, what?
Yeah,
How did they get through the door before?
He was sleeping. I had to smack him. Smack him around a little bit. New recruit and all.
Just don't tell the captain. He thinks I'm a terrible clerk because I can't count.
Well, I can't count either.
He's just counting. He's got several
us.
missing fingers.
The nuts
All right.
count as half.
Right. So you grab Lad, you pull him back inside.
Yep. And then we'll make our way towards the other side of the of the train car.
All right. So for all intents and purposes, you guys have all the equipment that was on your character sheet plus anything else that was added to potions of healing, fire hammers.
Okay.
Should I label that dagger anything other than that dagger?
You can label it as strange dagger.
Strange dagger? Okay.
And it's very strange to you. It feels very odd in your hand, like it doesn't seem to quite fit. It's full of weird runes, and it's kind of twisted and curves, but mechanically, it's +1.
It's +1. Okay. Could I roll Arcana check on it?
Sure.
7.
7, you don't know jack shit about what this is.
Yep. Fair enough.
All right.
So I'll take that, and I'm not too fond of blades, and I'll hand it to my big brother, Ander. This should sharper than most, and I hand the strange dagger to him.
All right.
And I'll take it and slide it in one of my bandolier dagger slots.
Should also mention as you actually no, I'm not. No, that doesn't make any sense. All right. So, right, you got everything together. What do you do?
We head out of the other side of the train cart.
All right. You move out, and you see even more of these other bridges, and you actually see another one of these things go by, and you actually get to see what it looks like from the side as it just kind of goes over you on another bridge. And it's just like these large metal cylinders, about 3 cars long, with these, basically the bottoms of them are just flaming, like just beds of flame beneath them as they soar along these bridges, which are kind of like divoted beneath. And there's one more car in front of you.
So as we exit this car and we see this other train go by, I turn back to Kellen and I look at him and say, "Hey, Bookworm, have you ever seen one of these? Or read this? Or heard of this? Or
On the dagger? I'm sorry?
No, the train.
Oh, on the train? I guess I would roll a history on that.
All right.
12 plus history, 16.
You don't know much about these things. You know a little bit about Kel'Thuzad. A little bit comes to mind when you that you didn't remember before about these things, these strange metal worms in old legends that kind of used to run beneath Evereign. And you think, well, this could be like that.
Okay. I would look at Ander and I would say, well, remember the old tales, Uncle Joe would come in and tell us about the flaming bullets that would fly around? I mean, it could be Uncle John because we were
Uncle John. One of the Uncle Johns. So these explosives we found. How is it easy to look? Does it come with instructions? Does it say this way towards bad guys, or?
They do not come with instructions, no.
Okay.
Shucks.
I'll figure it out.
I have a specialty in alchemy. But yeah, I guess I could just roll like an intelligence check to see if I would be familiar with this, because I did study a little bit of alchemy.
Sure.
Just flat intel, or anything in particular?
It would be Arcana.
Oh, Karma? Okay, Charisma?
Karma, yeah, that's the new stat. It's in some RPGs, I think, though.
It is. That would be a 9 total.
Yeah, with a 9, you don't know much about this. The red light does remind you of the fire hammer. So you kind of tell, oh, this is like a similar power source. That's about all you know.
Okay.
Okay. I would relay that too.
So I guess I'll open the other door and head into the final train car.
Yeah, as you step up to this, you actually see some smoke kind of billowing out of this, out of the doorway, kind of out of the crack. and you notice it opens fairly easily as this thing seems to the whole car seems to shudder and shake. And you open it up and you see all this smoke flowing out, and you see you hear these loud noises like machinery, like banging metal, and roars of like from like fire. As you enter into this space, and you see basically at the front of this room, 60 feet away from you guys, is um, like a man who's very large. He's bigger than he's like like 8 feet tall, and he is hammering on these bits, and there's like sparks and smoke, and he's got this big, like, it looks like big visor over his head that's been pulled over. His sleeves are rolled up, and he's just slamming this hammer down on this thing. And you see these like glass tanks running up the left side of this room, and they just seem like they're filled with fire. And there's like tubes running from them down into these machines, and there's like, you hear loud steam and smoke and from this burning from the tracks. And he hasn't noticed you yet. He's just
So I kind of approach this guy, and I tap him, and I say, "Hey, did you know that the clerk doesn't know how to count?"
he just says, "What?"
And then I yell louder, "Did you know the clerk can't count?"
He just says, "I know that from the day I met him. I don't know why they hired that shit." And keeps hammering down. He kind of turns to look at you and lifts this visor up, and you see this like big brutish like face, and you see he's not actually a Duergar, and he looks at you and he just says, "Who the fuck are you?"
New recruits. They sent us up from the back to report in.
And at this point, I would put my hand on his shoulder, showing the ring, and said, "I'm taking these guys to the captain for a debrief."
And he just slams a few times on this console in front of him with the hammer again, and it just kind of begins to sputter, and the whole train just shakes really violently, and it kind of calms down, and he turns back to look at you guys, and he just says, "I'm the captain. Who recruited you?"
Beardless.
Yeah, and the man with the eye patch, him too. And I turn to my brothers and I smile and nod.
As soon as he says eye patch, I look at him and go, "Yeah, we call him Patchy."
Patchy the pirate.
And he didn't kill you.
He tried.
He was quite impressed with my skill. I mean, our skill.
And he's regarding each of you suspiciously, and make a deception check.
18.
14.
Plus 5. That would be a 19.
All right. So a 19, an 18, and a 14.
Yes.
Yep.
So he looks at your ring, and he just says, "I don't let non-Duergar wear those rings." And he hefts this hammer up in the air, and he just says, "How about you take that off before I smash your hand?"
Well, you see, old Patchy gave it to us to come up here and introduce ourselves to you so we could get by the clerk, and so you'd know we weren't just random prisoners.
He grabs you by the shirt collar and kind of hoists you up a few feet in the air, and he just pulls you in really close to his face, and you can just smell like sweat and dirt and ash off of this guy. And he just looks at you and he just says, "You don't work here, so get the fuck out of my engine room." "Guards!" And he calls, and he hears nothing. He says, "Guards!"
I'll raise a finger. Oh, yes.
Well, it looks like I'll have to handle you myself. And he drops you, and he hefts his hammer, and he takes a swing at you. And he misses you, and you guys can roll for initiative.
8. I should have saved my spell slots.
8 for Lad.
7 for Lad.
7 for Lad. 8 for Ander.
6.
8 for Kellen.
Horrible.
6, 7, 8.
Let's see how this guy rolls.
He rolls a 4.
Alright, yeah, so he goes first. So he misses you, and you see he swings around and he actually cracks one of these tanks of fire, and he lets out a yell, and he's going to swing at you again. Let's just get this. Sorry, I'm getting this all set up. Alright, he takes another swing. And he misses again. So he swings again, and he cracks. And you see this this glass tank begins to just like fractals. This glass begins to just along this tank to the left of you. And it is Kellen's turn.
I will, knowing that I don't want to overdo my signature Dr. Knife Hand move, we'll go for Mr. Freeze. And I'll be casting Ray of Frost.
Alright.
17 plus 5, 22.
22 will hit.
Okay. 1d8. 6 cold damage. And you
Awesome.
slowed for 10 feet.
What does the Ray of Frost look like?
It is a blue beam that extends from my hands, from my fingertips in particular, and it kind of not exactly snowflakes. I would say ice shards are kind of shrapneling out.
Cool. Awesome. All right, we are up to Ander then.
Should be Lad.
Oh, that's right. Sorry.
Oh,
It's Lad. Thank you for catching that.
I am going to swing so I'm gonna rear up after he puts down my brother, and I'm gonna try and just take a swing at his head, in that general vicinity with my hammer, and activating the flame while I do so. And that is a 24. Wow. Yay.
24 will easily hit.
Do I need to do anything to activate the flame, or is that automatic?
The flame, the D4 for the flame is added on to your regular damage dice.
Cool.
So, yeah.
That is 11 bludgeoning damage and 1 flame damage.
All right. Okay. So you just kind of twist the thing, and you swing it, and you feel this whole, like, the power of this hammer just kind of vibrating through your arms as it kind of accelerates the blow. You smash it right into him, and yeah, he kind of stumbles back, and he hits his back against this glass cage. And now we're up to Ander.
So as Lad kind of just arcs over my head with this huge hammer, I kind of dip down, reach into my bag, pull out one of the explosives, look it over, and start like hitting anything that looks like a button until I eventually hit the red thing. I drop it on the ground, and I stand up, and very nonchalantly I just say, "Run," and then I walk out of the cabin.
All right. So you, all right, you press the button, you drop it, and you move out, and that's your turn.
Yep, that's it. I just leave, and I'm in the next cabin with the clerk.
All right. So as the captain kind of backs into this glass tank behind him. It kind of like and breaks, and out of it shoots these like flaming creatures. Like they look like almost like people, but like without legs or arms, like just like heads and flaming bodies, and they just kind of shoot out, and they're going to like basically fly just like through you guys and around everything. So everybody, give me a dexterity saving throw.
Oh, great. 5.
24.
All right. What did Lag get?
6.
All right. So Kellen and
Just put it
Lad,
there.
you both take. Let's roll this. So you both take 7 points of fire damage as these things just around the room, and they begin to just smash into machinery. Machinery begins to, and the captain is just screaming, and he grabs the bomb, and he basically nimbly dodges out of the way of these fire things, and he just tries to throw it outside of the engine room. So I'm gonna have him make a roll. So he like throws it and just goes to the side, and it kind of falls about 20 feet away, and he just starts running towards it. So Lad and Kellen can make opportunity attacks.
He's just running out of the train car.
He's running. He like tried to throw it out of the train car, and he didn't make it. So now he's just running towards it.
Perfect.
So opportunity attack is a 17 going to hit.
17 will miss him.
Oof.
17 will miss him. So will my 15.
All right.
So I'll take a heavy swipe that sails over his head.
Yeah,
Oh,
he
sorry.
kind of like he's like ninja dodging his way past these flames. He like pulls his. You see his face is just wrapped into a snarl, and he just says, "Never let this ghost ship go down." As he pulls the visor over his face, and just dashes towards the thing, the bomb that he threw, and he picks it up again, and now he's running towards the exit. And that brings us up to Kellyan. Kellyan, so this guy has just run past you, and he snatched up the bomb, and he's trying to run towards the exit.
While he's running towards the exit, quick reaction, I go back to one of the first spells I ever learned called Firebolt, and it's just a very quick hand motion and throwing it out there. 11 to hit.
11 to hit will miss,
Yep.
but go ahead and roll me a percentile dice if you have just like 2 d10s over if you
87?
87.
Yes.
Okay. 87. 87. You hit the bomb, and it explodes, and this whole train car is just split in two, and one end just flies up into the air. The end with Ander in it flies up into the air, and your end just off the bridge. The bridge is actually like caving in, and you're just falling. And everyone really needs to make dexterity saving throws as to not die.
Thank you. 14.
All right.
13.
14, 13. This is DC 12.
13.
All right.
8 plus 5.
So you all managed to hang on to something, and you take, let's see here. And you each take 6 points of like bludgeoning damage as these things hurtle into the darkness and just smash basically into the ground. And the train cars, the rest of the train car also falls. Everyone give me a Constitution check, please.
Constitution is 9.
9.
4.
17.
All right. So, Lad, you awaken first amidst the rubble of this destroyed what to you was like a giant moving box of metal, and you managed to kind of crawl your way out, and you see your brothers lying there unconscious, and there's flames just like covering every surface in this room that are just kind of smoldering and beginning to die away. And what do you do?
I'll get to my feet, kind of grunting and groaning, looking around the immediate vicinity, and trudge over to my brothers. And under one arm, I'm gonna pick him up almost like a barrel. I'm gonna pick up Ander, and under the other arm, I'm gonna try and pry loose Kellen and pick them both up and kind of shake them like I'd shake two barrels.
Awesome.
I was really hoping for some like redneck term, like I shake two pickle barrels. I'm like, who knows how you shake that?
Oddly specific, Kyle.
Yeah. What are you shaking all these barrels for?
You see out of the basically the car was like split in half, and it's kind of like pointing upwards, and you see through that hole, you just see kind of darkness, and then you just see a figure kind of float down, and it's Jamas, the short-sighted Durgar, and he's just levitating there, and he's got like rocks, kind of like or not rocks, but like you see like smoldering fire just kind of falling around him and kind of bouncing off an invisible shield, and he just looks at you holding your brothers like that, and he just says, "Well," and he looks around at the engine and he goes, "I knew this thing would fall apart one day."
Yeah, the captain told us to save our sails. There was a fire in the loud room.
Yeah, he looks at the shattered the shattered glass chambers, and he just says, "Fire elementals. What a poor power source. So unreliable. Right then, come along then."
All right, and I'll bring my brothers along with me. Don't mind them; they're just taking a nap.
You step up over the metal. Basically, you crawl out of this place, and you're holding your brothers, who are beginning to come to, and you see before you this great, in the stone, you see these lights from what looks like houses and smoke from fires and factories, and Jamas just turns to you guys and he says, "Welcome to the Undercity. Eltuzar. We finally arrived in less than favorable conditions."
We arrived in mostly one piece. Do me a favor. I imagine there was some the slaves or prisoners, whatever you want to call them. Can you check on them?
Oh, they're probably all dead. I'm far more worried about the cargo. I think most of it was destroyed. I barely got out.
Oh no.
Do you
Well,
have the dagger?
I'll shake Ander because I think he has it, and I'll start pressing around his chest. Oh, I think it's here. Yeah. Yeah.
You two are beginning to wake up.
I kind of groan as I'm still just being cradled under his arms.
And I'll lean
I don't
back.
want to go to school.
I'll lean back so that their feet touch the ground. All right, boys, time to get up. And I'll kind of just drop them, and if they don't catch their feet, well, they fall.
And I absolutely do fall.
Yep.
And then I stand up and I kind of brush the dirt off me and drop me.
Boy, you should have stood on your feet.
Yeah, I look at the guy and having heard him say dagger, I'm like, oh yeah, we have your dagger. We got to get it to Durka.
Durker, brother.
Dirk.
Durker.
Yes, yes. Can I say it?
And I pull out the wrong dagger, and I pull out just like a regular dagger.
No, no, the other one, the other one.
Yeah, well,
Pull
put
out
it
two
back in.
daggers, see if you can count them.
That's true. I actually pull out all 5. It's like hold them. I say it's one of these. They all look the same after a while.
But do you pull out the one with the runes?
Yes.
Yeah. So he kind of snatches it up and he goes, "All right, it's not damaged," and he runs his fingers up the blade, the flat end of the blade, and he just says, and you see this kind of evil look in his eye, and he says, "All right, boys, let's go then." And I think that is where we will stop.
Okay.
Um, As you guys walk away towards the Undercity, the as you walk away towards the Undercity, the camera cuts to a pile of rubble within the engine room, and you see a hand shoot out, and then a face with a visor, and the hand lifts up the visor to see the now scarred and bloodied face of the captain, and he is going, "This captain's not going down with his ship." And that is where I will stop the broadcast.
Nice.